Okay, so you're sold on why you want to turn your customer orders into batches. You're sold on paperless picking. You know why it's important. You understand how this is going to solve the problems, and you've been through the overview of the steps involved in the action process with Peoplevox. The aim of this session is to just run you through that flow in real time, just share with you how it works. So sales orders get imported into Peoplevox. If the inventory is available, they go into this status of allocated. And allocated means the inventory is available and they're ready for picking. They could also go into a status of partially allocated. If they go into a status of partially allocated, whether or not they're available to be made into actions for release is going to depend on whether they've got partial shipment enabled. If partial shipment is set to false, then they're not going to be available for picking. You can see this one here has been released, so that will be one where partial shipping's been enabled. So within here, we can create the actions. And the first step is to choose the picking strategy that we want to apply. Now, in a real environment, it's likely that we're going to pick our single item orders first. We want to clear those down. They're the most efficient to pick. They're the fastest to dispatch. These are the easy ones. If you got more than 50% single item orders, you're in, even more than 30%, you're in dream town. You may think, oh, but that means we're not getting additional revenue from other items going in the basket. Well, you can't have it all. Flip side of people buying one thing is your picking is going to be more effective. It's going to be more efficient. And the simple reason for that is we don't need to match items together at the point of dispatch, and we don't need to match items together during the pick. So this is just about seeing all the orders that contain one item only, quantity one, line number of line items of one. And it ensures we don't end up with, let's see if I got an example. I thought I had a good example of picking trolley just piled up with bits of paper with all the items and the paper on top. That setup where you've got all the paper and all these items, and it's just hoping that bit of paper stays with the right item. So we haven't got to deal with any of that. We've got our search filters here. We can create and/or searches using any of these filters, and they're all listed out in the diagram in this document. You can see all of the ones that are available to you. So you can see some examples here, like you'd filter on, if you had a service type seller fulfill prime, you might filter all of those orders first. So you apply a filter, select the orders that are shown in the end, click next. We then choose the number that we want to put in a batch. Clever thing for single item orders is that if you've got 100, let's say you got 1,000 items to pick, when you batch for single item orders, it doesn't just randomly batch the items together. It actually batches them based on their location in the warehouse. So the first 200 in the pick sequence get put together, the second 200, the third 200, the fourth, and then the fifth. And what that means is the pickers that go out, they're fanned out across the entire warehouse. It's brilliant to see. And so here we got 68. So let's say we can get 10 in each batch. That's going to create 7 actions in total. I might go, well, I've actually got 5 pickers working. Let's see if I can increase that. There we go. I know I've got 5 actions. And the rest of the things here are totally optional. Priority is the thing that people often ask for, because that then, when you're on the Android app, you can sort the orders, the actions by priority. But really, you just want to make it as easy for the pickers as possible. Like, they don't even want to care about priority. Just tell them to take the top action from the list. And also, I think you can easily overthink as well who you release them to. Like, we release by role, we don't release by individual. Releasing by individual just creates so many exceptions and problems downstream. Your warehouse team have got the capability right now to pick with paper in a highly organized way. this is making their life 10 times easier. You don't need to be as granular to say this order needs to go to a specific person. If you've got, say, batch of orders which has got bulky items in it, you could tag that particular action as being bulky, and they'll see that in the action screen when they're picking their action. And then when we hit go, this is that step where it checks. It goes, right, we've got 68 sales orders. Are they all available in the pick locations? Are they ready to go? And apparently not. I've got a very bad warehouse operation. Most of my actions can't be created. Very unlikely for a client that you're going to be in this situation, anybody using the system, because prior to doing this, you can review all of your orders and look at all of the items that are allocated to sales orders and not available in pick locations at that point. Specifically, that's actually run through this report, which is sales orders allocated. See, what am I? Replenishment by sales orders. That'll be the one. So here you go. You can see these are the items that are needed for sales orders. So those actions that didn't create for me before, these are going to be the items that are needed for them. And until these are done, those actions can't be created. And yeah, so you can see this talking about that concept of hard allocation, soft allocation. Again, it's relevant because at the point of that action creation, that's actually what we're doing. We're doing the hard allocation in real time. If we just go through the flow again for another picking method, you may have released all your singles. Let's now do our pick and sort orders to trolley. I'm going to filter for all of my orders where the number of items is greater than 2, or let's say 3, and less than 10, because where they've got more than 10 items, I'm going to pick that completely separately. Let's executed that search. Do we get any results? Yeah, we got 25 sales orders. Again, we can choose how many we want to have in a batch. Now, at this point, this is where we're going to go for we're going to batch based on the slots we've got available on our trolley. There's an example of a single item order trolley actually that's been picked using Peoplevox. That's the actual end result we're aiming at. Here's an example of this is a pick and sort to trolley example where each of those trays are for a specific sales order. So in this example, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 16. It's probably about 50 orders they're releasing together. So here, when they're releasing that, they would say, yeah, we want to have 50 in a batch. So in this example, there's only 25 sales orders, so just release them all together. You then hit go, and it's going through those same steps. And if we go back, there's another couple of variants for action release that are probably worth considering. You've got the multi-order batch pick, and you can do that by order or by items. And what that specifically refers to, the by order or by items, I'll just come back here just to show you the two types. The reason we've got two types, this relates specifically to when you say, how big do we want the batch to be? Because if you do it by orders, you choose how many sales orders you want in the batch. And if we go back and we do it by items, it's going to give us the total number of items we want in the batch. Just a small difference, but that can actually have a big impact on which picking method's most suitable for you based on the product type that you're your shipping. Once the actions are released, they appear here. You can see the bulky ones that I did. You can see the number of picks to go, number of items to go, total items to go. You can see what picking method's been selected, and you could see if they were locked to an individual. So if they'd actually been sent out, you can see all of these examples in the test system. They're all locked to individuals. Once it's locked, it means another person can't pick the action. That's actually a common question that people ask when they're going from a paper system to a paperless one is, or how will I stop the same person picking the same orders? And the way it does that is when you actually select to take the action on the mobile app, it locks it to the individual. And the reason we have unlock is, let's say I pick half an action and I go on my lunch break. Well, that's not much good for the person running the pick team, because they needed to get the rest of that batch picked and shipped before I'm back from lunch. So you've got the capability in here to unlock. That's super useful to be able to unlock those orders and then put them back out into the actions list for another picker to pick up as well. And there's some other stuff going on, like these failed actions, which logs when certain items can't be picked. It's a little bit like a digital version of this. Picking problems as they happen, they get recorded in real time and logged. And you can see in here as well the completed actions, when it was started, when it was finished. And ultimately, as with all of the mobile processes throughout the system, we're capturing everything, date and time stamping it, and we're logging it against the individual. And that means that we've got an idea of how long things take, and you can start to compare the performance of individuals or the performance of the fulfillment operation across different periods of time. And that is a world away from where we started with order printer and pre-printed shipping labels coming out of something like ShipStation.